Hello and welcome to Absolutely Not. Thank y'all so much for being here. My name is Katrina Stroll. My pronouns are they, she, he, and you can learn more about me on my website, www.katrinastroll.com. Real quick, to anybody who utilizes the video recording of Absolutely Not, I apologize, but once again, we do not have an ASL interpreter, and that is because I could not afford it. If you are asking yourself, why can't you afford the things you need to do your please visit the support the mission page of my website. There are several options to choose from to support my work. Please choose one. The keywords for this episode are values, capitalism, and realignment. Whew. I encourage y'all to look up the definitions of these words and compare them to the definitions you carry with you on a daily basis. If you need help comparing, please let me know. This episode is sponsored by Headspace. Headspace has one mission: to improve the health and happiness of the world through meditation, sleep, stress, and mindfulness. Find out more about Headspace at the link in the show notes. Today's episode is titled Choose Values, Not Checks. Ooh, you better do it. And I'm excited to talk about this with my amazing special guest, Dannique Blake, she, her. Ooh, excuse me. Sorry, everyone's coming in now. Okay. Dannique has paved the way to become a radical HR, DEI, and organizational development specialist. Yes. Founder of Cultured Insights. She has spent the last 16 years partnering with early age and scaling organizations to help them get out of their own way and design working cultures and brands that support people, speedy growth, ethical success, and cultural wellness. With straight talking and clarity, she blends DER and HR insights with holistic personal and corporate developmental techniques. Yes. And it's my favorite part, y'all. She identifies as an all-encompassing human on a quest back to self in a divinely feminine and melanated vessel. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for reading that. I love it. And thank you, first of all, thank you so much for having me. As I said, I've spent 2022, I can't believe we're here and it's nearly finished, but I've spent 2022 trying to find the values that align most with me and the values that tell my story. And you definitely encompass all of that. So I'm just so grateful that you reached out to me and you felt like I could be part of your mission.
Thank you. Okay, yeah, we're not crying yet, everyone. I know we will get there, but I'm not crying yet. And then to the people who are questioning today's episode title, why is it important to choose values over checks?
So we live in this world where checks, money, revenue, we talk a lot about that stuff. We talk a lot about how we can make money, but we never really talk about how we can make self better. It's always about how the money, make the money, but not really coming back to self, not bringing it back to self. It's usually for some outside validation, not to bring it in. And one day I realized that I spent a lot of time in living a very capitalistic life and not knowing who I was, not knowing why I was doing the things that I was doing or what my values are, or what made me happy, and why I was around the people that I was around, because I never felt happy around them. So I thought it was good. I think it was, if I was to go and speak to my 20-something-year-old self, I would say, spend some time thinking about who you are, what you value, and who and what values you. Make money still, but yeah,
because of the society that we live in. But
because the world still requires that.
Right. I love that last part, and what values you? So many people are probably questioning, I don't even know where to start. How do I know where my values lie? And that last part is going to help them get to where they need to go, where they need to start writing down.
Yeah.
Who told you that last part? Or where did you get the last part from? What values?
The last part was for me is sort of in the last 5 years or so, where I've had to really look at the bitter and sweet versions of my life. And I hadn't done that before. And then, it crept up on me. And this year it crept up on me, and I didn't realize I kept picking those bitter moments because that's all I knew. And I didn't realize it was, I was heading into, I was in a depression. I was experiencing depression, but I didn't realize that's what I was experiencing because I'd never looked at my life as an experience. I'd always looked at things as this is it. This is what you have to do in order for people to want you in a room with them.
I hate that so much. I truly do. I really don't like that for you. I don't like that for anybody who resonates. Like the fact that we live in such a society where like, yeah, just keep going. Just like, don't understand what's going on with your body. Don't take time to pause. Just keep getting that money. Don't care about if you're happy in this space. I love that you talked about zooming out though. What was the breaking point where you're like, I have to zoom out?
So there's been a few things that have happened in my life. So I got divorced. And that was a moment where I still didn't zoom out. I still didn't I just didn't go in. I didn't know what values lied within. So I just thought, this is something that comes part and parcel. And, people say, oh, be resilient. So I was resilient. I went through the divorce as a resilient person. And I didn't accept that as a loss. And I didn't actually assess the bittersweet. I just kept doing the toxic positivity where it's like, well, at least I've got this, and at least this is happening, and at least this, and I kept going. And then I started my business, and the pandemic hit, and I did the resilience thing again, where at least I've got this. And I believe in gratitude so much. I believe that, you wake up and you be grateful, but the bit that people don't tell you is the bit where you become intensely emotionally avoidant. So it's difficult to know where the gratitude ends and where the toxic positivity starts, because you haven't done that assessment of your emotions and how you're feeling. And that's what I was doing. I wasn't really understanding how I was feeling. I was just doing the gratitude. At least I have, and at least I've got, and at least I'm doing this. And I'm grateful that, but I wasn't actually grateful for me. I wasn't really, because I wasn't really assessing me. I was just doing the external thing where I was like, well, if I show people that I'm good, then I'm good.
Oh, this episode, like many other episodes, feels like an attack on my entire being. I wasn't grateful for me because, baby, whoever is listening to this, who is also being attacked by these words in this episode, who is being grateful for you, if not you? Let's move past that. But I love that you talked about resilience. I saw a post. Somebody said needed this. I saw a post not too long ago that said, I'm not resilient. I just haven't died yet. And that hit me to my core.
Okay, I'm going to say a quick amen. That resonated with me. Oh my
God. It's hard, especially, when you identify as something different to the mainstream. And it's so you want to be the pillar for your group, your community. And that's what they tell you. When I was younger, I used to go to church. So they were like, resilience. And then I joined a different type of spiritual community, and it was all about resilience and being grateful and, not really accepting that, along with the light positive stuff, there's that negative or, the bad stuff that we do have to look at. Because without knowing what that is, we won't know what our values are. We won't even know why we don't like what we're doing, because we are avoiding that. And that's what I was doing. And that's where I ended up in workplace situations where I didn't have any boundaries. I didn't know how to say no, and I didn't know when to say no, because I just thought being resilient is how you got closer to that money. That's when, when you've got the money, that's when you stop. But, we all in this room, we know we don't stop when we get the money. We keep going because there's more money. Don't leave the money on the table. But where are we leaving ourselves if we keep going? Where do we meet ourselves?
Oh, I love this so much. And I love that so many people are resonating with this. One of the things that I wrote down was like, so are we not allowed to live until we get a certain amount of money? Like that idea that we're not allowed to do anything pleasurable or worthy of joy or until we get a certain amount of money. Is that the idea that was pressed upon you?
And also, what is the certain amount? What is the where do you enjoy? Where do you say, okay, I've done this and I'm loving it? What is the certain amount? And so that was one thing. And then when you go in, when I got to a place where I started accepting who I am, all encompassing, and my feelings and wearing my heart on the sleeves. And I tell people, well, I have ADHD and I do this, and people would always say things like, oh, everybody's got something now. Everybody's got something. Everybody's something now. And I said, well, yeah, but what were we before? What were we before? So we were nothing before then, and that was okay. That made you feel more comfortable. Like now we've got something, and now we are something, and now we're realizing that along with this world that requires us to have some money, we actually know that we can pause and say no to things and introduce ourselves as ourselves. Now, that's great. I love that everybody has something, or everybody is something now. I like that.
And it truly, I love that you said, so what were we before? I'm literally the same person. I have the language to be able to communicate what I need from you in this relationship. I am the same person. But before, I was blowing my brains out trying to figure out, like, why can't I get this? And now I'm able to participate. What have been the reactions other than everybody has something? Have people been positive about you sharing your needs with them?
Well, everyone likes to say they're positive about it until you're sharing a need. And then, and it's a need they can't meet. And then it's, then you having the conversations. And for me, what's been really great is, so before I used to get really resentful. So you'd have friends and they couldn't do something for you, but it was the boundary that you couldn't really express because I didn't know how to. And now, because I understand my boundaries, I understand other people's. So I know that friend is not actually at that place yet. So they can't meet me here, but they might be able to meet me at the club. That's fine. And that might be where we meet. And that might be, we have some time and then we move on. So I know the different people that I can go deep with and really divulge where I am and what I'm feeling and what I'm going through, and the people who may not be ready for that. And that's okay. It's understanding that we're all at different places and our experiences in life may prevent us from wanting to go that deep, and that's okay. I don't have that resentment anymore. Whereas before I used to walk into workplaces and say, why don't you understand that I'm experiencing this? And because they don't know, it's not an experience they've been through, or it might be one that they haven't processed themselves, or they're not ready to process themselves, or whatever that is. But me understanding what my boundaries are has made it easier for me to say, okay, that person's not the person I speak to about that. And I don't have that resentment anymore.
Oh my gosh. I love that you use the word resentment, because that's really what it is. I expected you to go moon, stars. I will move the mountains for you. I expected every single person to do that, and every single person cannot do that for me. It's just not possible, especially during the summer of 2020, when all Black people decided to be very vocal about being Black and the things that they were witnessing happen in their workplaces. That resentment stayed with me for a long time. I worked in a predominantly white space, but now I'm just like, oh, what can y'all do? You're white and you're living a privileged life. Have you had to come to terms with that while manifesting your life in your melanated and feminine vessel?
There's a lot of things I've had to like I got to a place where I'm like, I know words are powerful, so I know when to use them and when not to use them now. And there's a lot of workplaces or a lot of workplace situations where I just know I do not need to create that now. You know, I don't need to create that magic in this room because it's not what they're ready for.
A lot of the things that you are saying because of the vessel that you are in, because Black girl magic is a thing that is pushed upon people who are in the same types of vessels that you currently are in, and it's just we can't do that in every single room. We can and expected to
and you know, and sometimes, you know, it's like trying to put chicken in everyone's soup. Some people just want onion soup and we just leave it there. We don't need to put chicken in it. We just leave it alone. We let them enjoy the onion soup as it is, and we may enjoy a spoonful or two with them and leave it as that. And then somebody can have the whole Creole meal. Like that's, you know, but it's that having that discernment now. And the only reason I can have that discernment and why I can be so much more discerning now is because I understand my values. I understand my mission. I know what my vision is. And even when I'm feeling, you know, I still have moments and bouts of feeling not very confident and imposter syndrome and all the rest. But when I'm having those, I understand, I know what my vision is. So even if I go into rooms where they may not wholly align with my values, I know what my mission is. I know what my vision is. I know where I want to be because I've spent that time really understanding me and understanding what is it that I want to do? What imprint do I want to leave with the people that I love? What do I want to, how do I want people to feel when I'm in the room and when I've left the room? Like what do I want them to feel? And so it's knowing that now and knowing when to add the extra sparkle.
I love this so much. I think about the times when I've been in rooms and have given certain people chicken in their soup, and certain people have seen like, I didn't get chicken in my soup. I don't like, why are you not giving everybody chicken? Have you ever had that happen and had to have the conversation of why you're not getting chicken in your soup?
Absolutely. All the time. You know, you go into rooms and people want to talk about stuff that I'm just not there. I'm not in a place where I don't feel safe enough to have that conversation with you. It's a boundary for me. So yeah, you don't get chicken in your soup today because I need to know a little bit more about what you're coming to. Like, why have you sat next to me? What is it that you really want from this? And again, a lot of times it is I find that it's a monetary thing. And if I get that feeling and I get that vibe from someone, I'm very much, you are not getting chicken in the soup. You paid for onion soup. That's what you're having. I'm having a lot of those conversations because of the work I do as well.
I love that. And I hope everybody who gets onion soup, it's still good soup. It's very much still very good soup. It's just not chicken soup, and you won't.
Yeah, it's not the full Saturday soup that
But you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But
you'll be good. You won't leave hungry.
This makes me think about the conversation we had about social media a little bit, and how often we are trying to discern what people want from us when they're DMing us. But we talk about a very dear connection to us who has not done that in the slightest. And I just wanted to shout her out. Kimberly John Morgan, she, her. Can we talk about like why she will constantly and always get chicken in her soup?
Kimberly, also like Stacey, who is also on our live as well. So I've met both through social media-ish, and both of them, Kimberly first. I'll talk about Kimberly first because that's who we're shouting out. So Kimberly has been the person in 2020, especially when we were all having that collective moment of what the fuck. Kimberly was the person who reached out and said, I just want to embrace you because I see what you're doing and I understand your words and I feel your words. And I felt the same for Kimberly. Kimberly is someone who would never ask anyone for help. And yet, when I see what she posts and how some people have reacted to her, how people have reacted to her post, I've always wanted to help her. I've always wanted to be the one saying, hey, what's going on here? You need to get out of my friend's DMs. You need to get off my friend's comments. You need to do this, and should ask questions. And we've just constantly been in each other's lives now since 2020, but there's no expectations. There's no, you must call me, or I expect to hear from you this amount of time, or I expect you to be happy when you speak to me. It's just, hey, where are you in life now? And we talk about it and then we move on. And then we also have the Caribbean connection as well. So we do the whole Caribbean vibes thing on LinkedIn as well. So that's and even makes the connection even more meaningful. But she is someone who I've watched work tirelessly and create such a safe space for people who are experiencing all sorts of isms, and never ask anyone for anything other than, and always just sharing love. And so I also want to shout out Stacey, who is the same for me. So Stacey is someone who has, whenever she gives real mum vibes, in a really trendy mum way. Like, she just gives these vibes where she's like, okay, come on, we're gonna dance today, we're gonna do so, we're just gonna, and we've never met in person, it's all been online or via Telegram or WhatsApp, but Stacey just knows how to hold space for people, and I've seen her do it for so many people, and I just really appreciate and value those types of connections where there's no expectations. It's just, hey, how are you? Are you okay? No? Okay, want to talk about it or not? And it's just that space where you don't feel like it's about, wanting to be part of, like, I don't want you to be part of my women in business group, or one of these sorts of things where it's like, I want you to be my paid friend. I don't get that from Stacey, and I don't get that from Kimberly either. And it's so hard not to by accident fall into that type of space on social media, because that's kind of the environment that it creates.
Oh, this episode is tearing me to pieces, but I love that so many amazing insights have been shared here, just because social media is scary as shit. Like, it's very, very scary, and it's easy to fall into those weird ass relationships. Like, oh, I thought we were creating real connections and you want me to subscribe. So it's $200 a month, something like that. It's very strange. And I love that you're giving out real data right now. Like, someone is consistent in the way that they don't expect you to have certain emotions. Someone allows you to share how you're feeling in the moment, and someone allows you to be all that you are in the spaces that you're both cohabiting. Like, that's amazing. These are real things we're looking for in relationships. Thank you so much for sharing. My next insight, we have learned so much today. The one thing I want you to talk about before we kind of wrap it up is the not knowing. There was a lot of time where you didn't know your values and stuff. How long can you go not knowing? Can the people listen to this and then like, oh, I don't care, I'm just going to keep not knowing?
I mean, yes, you can keep not knowing. And you know what? It's the most comfortable place. Not, it's so comfortable. It's so comfortable avoiding yourself. It's so comfortable avoiding your emotions. But you get to a point where you have to choose. You have to choose, because if you don't, the input, the input reflects the output. So at some point you'll just end up having the same experience again and again and again and over until you can no longer avoid it, until it's impossible to avoid. So, you know, yes is the answer. You can continue to avoid it, and you will go into workplaces and have very similar experiences. It's why we've got quite a few people now quiet quitting in workplaces, and then leaving that workplace and then quiet quitting in another workplace, because sometimes we are avoiding the fact that we may need to work a little bit harder, or do that difficult thing where it's, okay, do you know, I'm a really great writer and I don't write because there's a fear that I won't make money from it. So I just go into these other workplaces hoping that I'll make the money, that certain amount, in order to help me become more creative. And then you get into this environment that doesn't align with you, and you stop being creative and you stop writing, and you get home and you have wine, or you binge watch Netflix, and you don't ever write the stuff that is going to make you that money. So sometimes it is because it's a bit hard to actually be someone with value. To be a principled and disciplined person is hard. So there's that. I'm into astrology, so I'm ruled by Pluto and Saturn. So there's no way I can hide from this. Like both of those, if you know the story of Saturn. So Saturn's like the daddy. It's like rules and restrictions, and you need to do this, otherwise you will keep repeating cycles. So that's me. I have to go through these. I have to do it, otherwise I will continue to be in this place where I'm like, why am I having this experience? But I believe outside of all of that, I believe that's just how we experience things. It's like, if you don't learn to ride the bike, the next time you get on the bike, it will be hard again. Until you keep doing it, you may fall, you may only get to a certain spot, but the more you do it, the more you'll learn to ride that bike, and that's it. So I think for people who are listening, who are feeling maybe stuck and not knowing, or feeling like it's hard, it is, and I hold space for you, because it's so hard to go from the person who may have lived their life up to this point, resilient, and you know, staying in places that don't make your spirit and soul sing, because we're trying to achieve that certain amount of money. But it is hard to be that person who says, okay, do you know what? I'm so fed up of this. I'm going to pick me, because I know that I love drawing or painting or whatever it is. So I'm going to commit 5 hours a week for that. 5 hours a week is an hour, less than an hour a day, if over 7 days. So committing 5 hours a week to you and what makes your soul sing, and doing that and doing it more. And I've definitely seen the results of that. I've definitely seen the people who've just said no more and done their thing. I've seen their lives turn around, like not instantly, because you know, it doesn't happen like that. But I've seen their lives go from, I don't know what I'm doing, this is really hard, to a friend of mine who has always been the most fantastic artist, one of the best artists, selling her art in an exhibition for £25,000. I don't know what that equates to in dollars now. I don't know where we are with this weird financial climate, but it's a lot of money. But she's gone from, I don't know how to do this, and I'm working in these environments where I'm not aligned with my values, to leaving those environments and choosing what she aligns with, to like stand in a room where I'm seeing her art on the wall with really reputable artists. I cried. So yeah, it can happen, but it's hard. Whoa, 27, 900, a lot.
I love how honest you are being about this, though. I don't think we've explicitly said it in this space before, but it's fucking hard, and it might not be overnight, but it is definitely worth it. I don't know how many Cinderella stories you've seen, the people that are listening to this, but you have to do something first. You have to trust somebody first. You have to take the first step. You have to choose you. So the people who are listening to this, who are going to start choosing values and ultimately themselves tomorrow, what would be the top 3 tips you would share with them?
I would say, first of all, hold space for yourself. Hold space for yourself. It's you know, if you don't hold space for yourself, it's very unlikely someone's even going to know that you need that space. Second thing I would say is sit down as often as you can and just assess your day. What did you like? What didn't you like? What was bitter? What was sweet? What would you throw in the trash? You know? And then the third thing is making time to throw those things in the trash that need to go, because that's hard too. And sometimes it may be people. So, you know, it's hard to think, you know, the whole thing of letting go. And I like what Stacey said, quote from Future Kane, what you resist persists. It's true. So if you don't let go of certain items, objects, people, experiences, it's going to keep frustrating you, and it will be harder to actually be able to set the right boundaries that help you create the life that you deserve. Because I don't think none of us are broken. None of us, I believe we are all perfect by design. That's my life coach says that all the time. It's like, we're perfect by design. Like, if you think about just birth in general, it's a miracle. I believe we were supposed to be here. None of us are broken. We're on a journey back to ourselves. So, you know, we can do it. There's nothing really stopping us. And even us who are disabled, there's ways around it. It's being around the right people and having the boundaries and knowing which people you should be around, who will help you solve problems and create less of them.
And create less of them every single time. You just spin like ridiculous facts in here, and I love it so much. One of the things I'm going to take away for the rest of my life is trash day. I'm ADHD, so I will definitely be putting that on my calendar at least once a month. Like, today's trash day. Let's go through the people. Let's go through the things we hated about this month. Let's take it out. Let's take out the trash. That is an amazing tip. I love that so much. This has been an amazing experience, and I cried a little bit, but not that much. So I cannot thank you enough for pushing me far, but not too far that I had to cry in front of everyone. Are there any last minute sprinkles that you could share with the audience?
I just want to say thank you for everyone who's listening. Thank you for all of the comments as well. They've been great. And I'm sorry if I've missed any. I see 3 hugs in there, so I'm ready for those as well. Yeah. But yeah, no, thank you so much. I want to thank you again just for creating this space where, you know, there's so many spaces out there where you can't really be yourself. And this is probably as much of this version of myself that I feel so comfortable being in. So you've made it just a really pleasant experience, and I could keep talking to you for forever, really. So I want to thank you. I want you to please support Katrina. Click the support button, please. Keep this going. We need more spaces like this.
I hate this so much. And I said I wasn't gonna cry, but I'm already crying. So great. Thank you so much for the kind words. I don't know how to accept compliments, so I will process this in my own time. But to everybody, oh my gosh, get through it. Come on. To everybody listening to this, keep setting those boundaries and saying absolutely not to everything unaligned. We are fucking rooting for you, and you got this. We will see you next time. Bye. Ooh.